Hey guys, just going to do a little bit of an overview for Taijutsu Scrapper's arc grid and all the cores. Kind of just making this video because I couldn't find any other sources of Taijutsu Scrapper arc grid information, and the only sources I can really use are looking at the Korean players' builds, and no one I know has any information on Korean scrapper content creators, so I decided I would just have to go into Trixion and test things out myself. So I'm just going to be going over only the Taijutsu ones. Maybe if I get enough relic cores for shock, I'll consider testing out shock training, but for now I'm just going to do Taijutsu. Okay, let's begin. So the first build I'll be checking out is kind of the one that I was excited to test initially, which is the repeated leap core. It's focused around Dragon Advent and spamming your stamina skills to reset your Dragon Advent cooldown and just using Dragon Advent as much as possible. So pretty much with all of these tests, I went Standing Striker, 100% crit rate. So basically I'm reducing the amount of variables as much as possible. So all we have to do is basically just record the damage breakdowns, the percentages. So for the first build, I basically tested whether or not you can use sort of your old runes, like all the wealth runes, to build up your meter as fast as possible, and all you're doing is changing to the new tripods that the cores want, and you're adjusting any gems that you might have that vary. For example, on my character, I have a few level 9 gems. So instead of putting my 2 9 damage gems on Battering Fist and Iron Cannon Blow, my two highest hitters, I swapped the Iron Cannon Blow damage gem for Dragon Advent. We've switched our tripods from 3-3-1 or 3-2-1 to 1-1-2. So for the cores here, we have the Star Core, the General Core. So this increases my Dragon Advent damage baseline, as long as you're changing the tripods correctly. Here, this is our activator. We use Earth Rend to activate our core, and this increases our damage with Dragon Advent. So here, after we activate our Destiny, the core, the Moon Core, we basically want to spam our Dragon Advent as much as possible to get our third activation bonus, which increases our Dragon Advent damage. General playstyle will be to build meter, spend Earth Rend, Dragon Advent, and then spam our yellow skills until Dragon Advent comes off of cooldown. So the general playstyle now becomes, instead of using our Earth Rend and then prioritizing our biggest hitters, we're just swapping what we prioritize to Dragon Advent. So as you can see, I'm going to press Dragon Advent. It has about a 10-second cooldown. However, when I start using other yellow skills, it lowers a lot, and that includes using Earth Rend and T-Skill. It reduces our cooldown by a lot. And you're gonna see, like, basically in my breakdowns, our Dragon Advent shoots way up in our damage distribution. So as an example rotation would be something along the lines of, you send this, you send all the other important skills, and then you go back into a normal rotation. But you, as soon as Dragon Advent comes off cooldown, you send it. If Earth Rend is up, you send it. And I'm almost like ignoring my other yellow skills for roundup sweep almost, as you can notice, just because it'll help me get Dragon Advent off a lot faster. And you can see how much more damage Dragon Advent actually does compared to, like, for example, our Iron Cannon Blow or Battering Fist. So, in one instance, we do about 250 mil on Iron Cannon Blow, about 280 on the Battering Fists, but look at this. That was a full stacked Dragon Advent. This is unstacked, 415, still, like, way more damage. Now imagine I have the Destiny up, and I'm rotating properly, 450, 460, and 580. It is a significant boost, basically double the damage of our Iron Cannon Blow and our Battering Fists. So if we take a look at my notes here, the damage distribution is kind of ridiculous. These are 2-minute tests, so on average it's around 33 billion damage. Not bad. And remember, this is with our old runes and some of the old tripods where I'm prioritizing wealth. So we're still prioritizing a lot of Earth Rend here, building up meter and resetting. But look at the amount of damage distribution that Dragon Advent has in each of these tests. 24.8%, 24.8%, 24.7%. It's ridiculously high. It is extremely important to prioritize Dragon Advent. So this is one viable way to play this build. You basically change nothing else about your old build. All you're doing is changing your Dragon Advent. You're equipping your Dragon Advent cores and changing your tripods on your Dragon Advent, and that's it. So now we move on to the new build, and by new build I mean whatever KR has been testing, which is essentially replacing all of your runes with quick recharge instead of wealth. So here, instead of wealth on judgment, we run purple quick recharge. Instead of legendary wealth on roundup, we go legendary quick recharge. And instead of wealth on shredding, we'll go Gilwind. Now, I think this rune here is actually flexible to your preference. If you think Shredding Strike is already fast enough, you actually don't need Galewind. You can probably continue to use wealth, or you can even use quick recharge, like a blue quick recharge. I don't know that you'll get much value out of a blue quick recharge, but you might get some value out of actually running wealth on Shredding Strike here, instead of using wealth on Roundup Sweep. If you take a look at the Sun Core for Repeated Leap, on the last line it says Destiny Advent on Dragon Advent use, stamina energy plus 30 and damage plus 30%. So when I initially read this, I thought maybe spamming skills won't be so bad because you'll get some stamina regen. But this is on the final cast. And the issue with that is before you get the plus 30 stamina refund from this part of the core, you've already run out of stamina. So basically your rotation would be quite similar from before. You activate Destiny, Dragon Advent, all big skills. But now we have oh, actually, hold on. I forgot to change my runes. So now we run Deathband. So now we go back to level 10 Charging Blow and back to level 4 Judgment for a much faster playstyle. So we go back. I'm actually almost ignoring most of my other skills here. Just to prioritize quick recharge from roundup sweep. But as you can see, I'm kind of like just barely running out of energy right as I'm getting to my Dragon Advent. So you could see a few times where I did have to wait for energy recharge, or stamina recharge rather. But I actually think that it's, in a real raid, it will be kind of inconsequential. I don't think you'll ever have this much uptime on a boss in a real raid. Also, obviously, roundup sweep is completely RNG. So we're not going to have roundup sweep perma uptime anyways. Let's take a look at the breakdown for the quick recharge build. It was pretty much similar. I would actually say in my tests it performed worse because in Trixion I just couldn't upkeep the energy or the stamina requirement to just keep hitting the boss basically. The quick recharge build does lower the distribution of Earth Rend and increases the Dragon Advent by about 1 to 2%. About. And actually, T skill went up significantly. That means if you get lucky on your quick recharge procs, you will get more T skill uptime. So this build, you kind of forego prioritizing your big three, and you just try and reset Dragon Advent, your T skill, and Earth Rend, and cycle these three as much as possible. I did try a variation where all I did was prioritize roundup sweep, and I just spammed that, and I basically never used explosive battering and ICB unless I didn't get lucky with roundup sweep. And it wasn't bad, but once again, this is a Trixion test, it's a Trixion parse. You're never going to have this amount of uptime with roundup sweep in a real raid. So actually I think this would perform a lot worse in a real raid scenario compared to everything else. So basically for this core, I would say you can choose either one. I'm not sure how the quick recharge build would work in a real raid, because of course I haven't been able to actually test any of these cores in real raids, because I don't have them. But because this upcoming patch will get a relic selector, a lot of people will probably be able to make a full build, or at least a 2 out of 3 core build. This playstyle, if you like it, you like Dragon Advent and you like just jumping around, sure. It's an okay build. I think this only slightly varies how you play the game. As a disclaimer, this core right now, in terms of damage, is the weakest of the 3 Taijutsu cores. At least from my testing. There might be a playstyle or variation of playing this build that is different, that is better, but I'm not really sure what you would do differently. And I think it's just a numbers issue. When I was testing the other cores compared to this, Dragon Advent really doesn't hit that hard compared to what the other cores provide. Repeated Leap It's not bad. It's the worst of the three. But if you enjoy Dragon Advent, or you think you might like this type of playstyle, go for it. It relies on getting, honestly, getting Roundup Sweep procs. If you don't, you're not going to be able to spam Dragon Advent as much, and you're just going to lose damage. Okay, moving on to Tenacity Suppression. So, initially, I thought this was going to be a build where you basically never use Tenacity Release, you don't use Earth Rend, and all you do is cap your Tenacity meter, and you just play like the old days. You just spam your skills, and that's it. And so that's kind of initially how I tested. In my first test, I basically didn't press Z at all, and all I did was use my main skills and my T skill. And surprisingly, it didn't do terribly. Let's now swap over to Tenacity Suppression. So this core, the Star Core, the Barrage Core, this increases your damage by a lot. You now swap a lot of runes, or not runes, you swap a lot of tripods. Explosive Fist into Weaving, which I've already been using, Wide Hit on Iron Cannon Blow, and Capture Opportunity on Battering Fists. The Moon Core just requires you to use stamina skills 4 times to activate your destiny. And when you're not in Tenacity Release, your stamina skills just get a flat baseline 20% increased damage. That means you don't need full meter, you just need to not be in Tenacity Release state. And then here, Sun Core, on Destiny activation, you recover stamina to full and gain Tenacity Suppression for 30 seconds. When you're not in Tenacity Release, all your stamina skills get another 8%. So basically here, you're getting 20% while not in Tenacity Release, and here, you're getting another 8% while not in Tenacity Release. And then on the 17 piece, while Tenacity Suppression is in effect, basically once you activate your destiny, you get another 12% when your Tenacity power is at full. And you're also not in Tenacity Release. So the big thing here is, if you want to maximize your damage, you have your Destiny activated from 4 stamina skills, and your Tenacity meter is full. Now, this can trick some players into thinking, hey, I just need to keep my Tenacity meter full at all times, and I'll just get tons of damage. Turns out, Earth Rend is still broken. It doesn't matter what you play on Taijutsu, Earth Rend is king, it doesn't matter. So basically what's going to happen is, so initially I thought, hey, we just build up meter, so you just stim or you build up meter before the fight, you go in, and then you just go ham, right? You just press all your buttons, and bada bing, bada boom, you do tons of damage. That's a lot of damage. In Trixion, 1.6 bill on T-skill, that's insane. I only did about 30 billion damage in a 2-minute test. That seems kind of low. And a lot of people in Korea, like their recent balance patch, nerfed Tenacity Suppression. Something is wrong. That means people are using Earth Rend with this build. So what ended up happening is I decided I'm just going to use Earth Rend off cooldown whenever I get it, and I'll only keep it when my T skill is up. And boom, my damage shot up. So here, my obviously I have no Earth Rend, but my Battering Fist is up here, 20%, 20.3%. My T skill, 19.6. Iron Cannon, 19%. A big thing is missing, it's Earth Rend. And Earth Rend is way too powerful to not use, basically. So I swapped playstyles, and Earth Rend is still king. It still blows everything out of the water. If you wanted to play old school and never use Earth Rend again, unfortunately for you, that's not really how you want to play this build. So basically what happens is you're going to... I'm not actually sure that you want to start off using your Earth Rend, because you want to use your T skill as soon as possible. But basically what happens is you're going to Earth Rend off of cooldown after your T skill. But if your T skill is up, or close to up, and you're paying attention, you're going to want to hold your meter so that you maximize your T damage. holding. And then I T. 1.98, insane. And I keep going back. And that's basically how you would play it. In a lot of scenarios, I actually think this would probably be the build most like the old build, where you still just send your Earth Rend off of cooldown, and you just get to enjoy the benefits of the damage buff that the core is giving you. You just get stamina damage increase across the board. The reality is you don't actually need to use T while your tenacity meter is full. Like, you can, like, for example, right? My T skill with Destiny active and my tenacity meter at full is like, what, 1.8 to almost 2 billion. But, like, let's even without tenacity meter. I'm 1.6. As long as my Destiny is active, I'm doing 1.6 on my T, which is still quite significant. Like, if you don't have a choice, and you just need to burst immediately, and you just need to get it over with, that's still a very significant amount of damage. I don't even have my adrenaline stats here. .77. The amount of power you get from just having stamina damage increased across the board, and all you have to do is press stamina skills 4 times. It's ridiculous. And the big thing about this core, actually, you recover your stamina to full after activating Destiny. That means if you're spamming skills, if you've ever had the scenario where you're, for example, spamming your roundup sweep and you keep hitting resets and then you're not full meter yet, so you can't reset, go Earth Rend, and refill your stamina meter, and you just run out. Because it happens sometimes, very rarely, but it happens. All you need to do for this core is just, after 4 roundup sweeps, your stamina meter is back to full. You can just play old build, and you just get a strict damage increase. A 20% damage increase here. Our old playstyle was basically, we're never in tenacity release for anything other than Earth Rend, right? We spend Earth Rend ASAP, and then we build again. Now, obviously, I'm still using quick recharge here. I have wealth here. On these initial tests, I actually used wealth runes. And already with wealth runes, it was a significant damage increase. And it performed better than both variations of the repeated leap build. And then I went in and I tested with quick recharge, and it performed even better. Yes, tenacity release is the strongest of the 3 cores. It will get nerfed in for us eventually, I assume, but it is just so strong on our balance patch, because you basically don't have to change anything and you get a ridiculous damage increase. And if you decide to change to quick recharge runes on your skills, you will get even more damage. Okay, moving on to the final core, Earth Collapse. So this core is a bit of a throwback to the old build where you tenacity release and you send your big 3. Although old rotation, you couldn't cancel your tenacity and you'd just be in there and try and fit 2 iron cannon blows in 1 rotation. This is essentially what this core wanted to do, and unfortunately I don't think it really achieved what it was set out to do, and I don't think they understand how broken Earth Rend is in our kit, and the fact that Earth Rend is our highest damage by far, and we don't get any damage modifiers for Earth Rend. So the thing about Earth Collapse is this core basically wants you to use your 3 big hitters, or at least in this case, actually 2 big hitters, Iron Cannon Blow and Battering Fist, within your tenacity release before you send Earth Rend. But it also wants you to send 1 extra skill before you send it. So It's basically telling you to use your big three. But it almost doesn't even matter what you do with your runes here, because 9 times out of 10, you're probably not even using your Iron Cannon Blow Battering explosive in Tenacity Release regardless. And the reason for that is it's a complete waste of time. Now here, after Destiny activation, we get Condensed Stamina. Basically allows us to stack in Tenacity Release so that our Earth Rend will do more damage. And so it caps at 3, so we use 3 stamina skills. You would figure, oh, of course, it's the 3 stamina skills we use in our Tenacity Release pre-tier 4. Iron Cannon Blow, Battering Fist, Explosive Fist. It turns out it's just not efficient. It's too slow. So rather than using those 3 skills, we're just going to use Roundup Sweep. So initially I tested basically what the core was telling me to do, essentially, is to use my big 3 in Tenacity, which did fine, about comparable to repeated leap damage, maybe a little bit worse. Okay, so initially I thought this build is going to be the least flexible of all the builds, because you have to Tenacity Release, send your big 3, and then you Earth Rend, and it's going to be too slow. If the boss decides to leave, GG. If you try to play how the cores kind of are hinting at wanting you to play, you're just playing less efficiently. So my first test, I initially played focusing my big 3, ICB, Battering, Explosive. It was okay. About 32.3 bill in 2 minutes, not terrible. It's not great. Earth Rend at 30.4% is a little low, considering this is a build completely focused around Earth Rend damage. Instead of using these skills in Tenacity Release, we're just going to use Roundup Sweep. Roundup Sweep and T-Skill only in Tenacity Release. And why T-Skill in Tenacity Release is because we still get 7% increased damage while in Tenacity Release. Now, I understand that T-Skill is a big meter gen skill for this build, but I think it doesn't matter enough if you're in a good enough spot. Like, for example, if you're bursting, if you're in a good burst window, you should just send T within Tenacity Release. It's fine. If you can use your T-Skill in Tenacity Release, you should just use your T-Skill. It's a pretty significant buff. You're getting a 7% plus another 10% bonus. So about 17%. I assume it's additive. And as you can see, our Earth Rend damage distribution increases by 5, 6, 7%. It is a significant damage increase. We went from 32 bill to 36, 36. We just care about going into Tenacity, building up 3 stacks ASAP, and then using Earth Rend. And if T-Skill is one of those stacks, it doesn't matter. And then everything else is just there to build meter. So in this test, I believe I used Quick Recharge. I don't think it matters whether you use Quick Recharge or Wealth. I actually think you can probably use Wealth here. I would have liked to do a little bit more testing, but I just ran out of time before I had to go to bed. But basically this build it's basically on par, maybe slightly worse than Tenacity Suppression. I could see it being very comparable to Tenacity Suppression, but this is either the best or second best. And if you like this sort of build-up playstyle, it's significantly easier than stacking for something like Surge, especially since you don't have to use your 3 big skills to close. I will say all 3 cores don't really change your gameplay that much. If you were expecting some crazy gameplay change, like the spin to win Slayer build or something crazy like that, you're not going to get it. It follows basically the same principle that Taijutsu has had since Tier 4, which is Earth Rend is king, T-skill is high prio, and maybe you change 1 or 2 skill priorities. For now, I would say use whatever the game gives you. If you're 0 out of 3 and you just want to have a stronger build now, I would actually recommend you go the Earth Collapse build. Because I think, in my opinion, I think that's the one core setup where you only need 2 out of 3 to be significantly stronger. Because I think the other 2 cores, the Repeated Leap and the Tenacity Suppression core, kind of requires the Star core to give you a significant damage increase in your skills. I think you can argue that Tenacity Suppression doesn't require all 3 as well, but Dragon Advent definitely needs all 3. And unfortunately, Dragon Advent is the weakest of all 3. So, once again, in my opinion, they're all relatively close enough that it doesn't matter too much, but play what you want, play what you like, or what you think you'll like. In the end, Earthrend is still king. And yeah, if you have any other questions or you have suggestions on any of these playstyles, because I only did personal testing, I haven't seen actual gameplay in Korea of any of these cores. If any of you guys have advice, please let me know. Let other people know. Thank you.